Welcome to Sip That Coffee, where casual conversations flow and real talk happens. We keep it real, diving into authenticity, growth, and all the unpredictable moments life throws our way. Whether you're here for thought-provoking chats, a little encouragement, or just some good company, grab your coffee or whatever it is that keeps you going, and let's get into it. I am still at the hospital with my sister. Hopefully she'll be out tomorrow. Unfortunately, Candy and I weren't able to get together to do our recording, so I'm just gonna roll with it and do what I can so that we at least have an episode for you to listen to. So that's what I'm doing now. And if you see the video clips of this room, it's a weird, grungy, kind of creepy room at the hospital because I'm on one of the older sides of the hospital. So, anyways, I'm probably just gonna read a few things from my archives that I've written, mainly because conversating by myself doesn't work too well. So figured I'd just share some of my words. So let's see what I have. And I think this one is probably going to be a good one to start with. So bear with me as I read this. Life changes and it changes fast. Holding on for the ride can be quite the challenge. You either have the white knuckles or you're relaxed and enjoying the ride. I prefer to enjoy the ride, but sometimes I end up in the midst of something that causes the grip to tighten. Often we put ourselves in those situations, and sometimes it's caused by others. What I have found, no matter which way it is, that we have a choice on how we react. We can either fret over the problem or take action to solve it. Sometimes solving it requires bringing it to an end. Not everything we do is meant to last forever. There's a place and time for each and everything in our lives. Life sometimes catches us by surprise. Have you ever had something happen that totally turned your world upside down? I know I have. I think most of us can answer yes to that question. It may take a long time to get over it, or it may be something that motivates us to change something. I truly believe that even in a tragic situation, we can overcome if we choose to. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it can be done. Absolutely no one enjoys misery, but so many choose to live in it. Why do you think that is? I think it's because we sell ourselves short of what we can get through. Life is beautiful. What do you see when you take the time to open your eyes? We get so caught up in the today craziness that we forget to enjoy life. We allow all of these things to take over our life, causing us to miss out on the true beauty. The old saying, stop and smell the roses, really does mean something. We need to remember to stop and take a look around. I have been guilty of being so busy that I have not enjoyed life or focused on things that the Lord would have me focused on. It makes me feel sad when sometimes the simple pleasures in life are seen as an annoyance. I hear parents get frustrated because their children ask them to do something with them. In the meantime, there are couples who would find that interruption a blessing as they have not been able to have children of their own. I could give you many examples of this. What I want you to see is that life may have its ups and downs, but it truly is the most beautiful adventure if we take the time to enjoy it rather than complain about it. I wrote that a while back, but that still stands now. And I have gone through so many things. I'm going through them now, along with my sister, standing side by side while she navigates this health issue that she's dealing with. And in this process, we can either choose to fall apart and overthink. It gets so worked up that it makes us sicker. I truly believe that our health is affected by the things that we're going through. And when we choose to face those things with positivity and one step at a time, usually, not always, but usually, it's a lot easier to get through and it doesn't affect our health quite as much. So that leads me to another writing that I have in my archives. Once again, some of these are like 8 or 9 years old, and it's crazy to me how these things are still applying to certain things that I'm seeing others go through or that I'm going through myself. This one is actually called Created Chaos. So, as you guys have listened to our podcast, as you can tell, Candy and I tend to get a little bit chaotic in our conversations. So, hey, this just kind of adds to it. In a chaotic world, why do we just add to it by overthinking and complicating things? Seriously, we do it to ourselves all the time. We complain that we can't focus, yet we are the very one adding the distractions. That doesn't really make sense, but we still do it. I am finding that my mind is needing more and more clarity. Then it goes completely numb, and I just end up lost in a game of Candy Crush Saga. So, I wrote this in 2016, so it was Candy Crush Saga. Now it's more like Monopoly Go. Anyways, continuing on, I am pretty certain that it is not a productive activity, but at times it is the one thing that clears my head long enough to fall asleep at night. It never stops. My mind. My mind spins with a million thoughts and ideas. I feel like a hamster on a wheel, doing a lot, but never really getting anywhere. Even while writing this, I'm thinking about a zillion other things. It's a wonder I even get dressed without going, oh, look, squirrel. Oh, wait, I do get distracted while getting dressed. I have walked out of the door on multiple occasions without brushing my teeth or brushing my hair. And that's actually the truth. Not quite that bad now, but it can still happen depending on what's going on. I have lived with myself for over 34 years. Wow. Y'all, I'm getting ready to turn 43. So this was written when I was 34 years old. I don't know about y'all, but this time has completely disappeared. I don't know that I want to go back to that though. Moving on. So I have lived with myself for over 34 years and I'm just now beginning to understand how my mind works and realize that I am not weird or the only one with the same struggles. I am learning that I have to create a routine in order to stay on track. Still terrible at that. Routines are great for one side of me, the other side of me gets bored with them. Anyways, that was a side note. But because my life has never been made up of routines, I am struggling to create that habit. I just said. About the only routine I have is what order I do things while getting showered and dressed for the day. If I don't stick to the routine, then that's when the missed hair or teeth brushing happens. That's a little embarrassing to admit, but it's true. I'm like, it is what it is. I don't struggle with that quite as much, but there's still times it's like you get bombarded by 50,000 things. I don't know if I'm the only one, so please tell me I'm not the only one. I hope I'm not. I find that even the simplest thing that changes the routine throws me off kilter. However, learning how to work through that has become my strong point. My goal is to set up as much routine and everything I can so that when disturbance happens, that I don't feel like everything is out of control. And honestly, 9 years later, that is the truth. I've actually managed to navigate life a lot easier by having things that I can control set into place and in motion, and then just going with the flow for the rest of them. And it does make a difference. I think the problem comes in a lot of times we still try to control every single thing that we honestly don't have control over. And then we fret about it. Then we try to do this, and then we try to do that. So give yourself a little box like, okay, this is what I can control. This is what I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to take one step at a time. A little piece of advice in the middle of all this crazy reading. And who knows, by the time I get done with this, I probably have said that anyways. So continuing on, I have always thought of myself to be a multitasker. I realize now that all these years of multitasking has actually held me back from actually accomplishing tasks at my full potential. It never allowed me to spend quality time on each task and to complete it fully. Looking back, I have so many unfinished projects. This is an area that I'm determined to change and grow in. Believe it or not, I actually have. It's taken me a while, but I have. I am excited to begin to morph into the butterfly that God has intended for me to be instead of being cooped up in the cocoon because I was too afraid to show my true self. Y'all, this podcast is evidence that things have changed for me. Like, you wouldn't have caught me doing this back when I was 34. I might have dreamt of doing it, but now, like, this is easy peasy for me because I'm tired of being silent. I was forced to be silent the good majority of my life. And so whoever wants to listen to me will listen to me. If they don't, then you can just move along, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes I have things to say, and I'm going to say it. And I feel like my voice was a gift to me, and so I'm going to use it how I feel like I need to use it. Because when I've been made silent, it doesn't work very well. And it was a very toxic, forceful silence. And that might be another story for another time. I'm sure Candy and I can get into discussion on some of those things. I'm not going to do that discussion by myself today, though. So, that being said, moving on again. If you find yourself stuck in your cocoon instead of busting out of that joint with your beautiful wings and soaring high, find your routine, find your focus. Stop worrying about them, those other people over there. Start worrying about how or why. Dream with your eyes wide open, but don't just dream it. Go out and do it. That's the key. Action. It's always action. No matter what it is that you're trying to accomplish, action. It doesn't matter if you're afraid, action. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense, action. It doesn't matter if 50,000 things you've tried before has failed, action. Take a step forward no matter what, because I promise you, as long as you keep doing that, you're going to hit the spot that you want to hit. And then the new one will come along in the next place. It's not even about the destination. It's about the journey that you get to take along in life and the things you get to enjoy along the way and the people. Open your eyes. I'm not reading anymore. I'm going to just run my mouth a little bit. Like, open your eyes to your surroundings. I had my eyes closed for so long because I was so internally focused on all the chaos here and all the chaos in my heart, chaos in my mind. And I missed so many things around me. And one of the examples that I could give is like this 8 days that my sister and I have been staying at this hospital. Her and I have received so many compliments about our personalities, about how kind we are, about our smile, and just bringing brightness to people's lives, just being present and not dwelling on the struggle that we're going through or that she's going through. And it really does make a difference. And why live life bringing other people down? I'm pretty sure that you didn't like that. You didn't like the people around you that were bringing you down. So why are you passing that on to others? Think about that for a minute. It's not fair to other people that you take the things you've been through and throw them on them. And some days they're not easy. Like we don't even want to put a smile on our faces and we don't want to take a look around us. But waking up to the beauty, because I honestly believe, like I said earlier with the thing I read, life is beautiful if we choose to see it that way. And a lot of people don't believe in that philosophy that, oh my goodness, you can't just simply choose how you see things. Yeah, I beg to differ. I've tried both. I've lived on both sides of this. I'm not just speaking about this because I haven't. I've lived on both sides to the point that the peace that I have by choosing to look for the good rather than the bad. There's enough chaos in this world. You could grab onto it all day long. And then within your own life, that's not out there in the world. And it will drag you down. But if you spend even just a moment in the morning and go, okay, this day, I'm going to choose who I am. I'm going to you choose your clothes, right? You choose what clothes you're going to put on. So choose your attitude that you're going to put on. Choose kindness, choose happiness, choose peace. And when you start doing that and practicing that every day and you start finding, negative thoughts that pop in, tell yourself to shut up because I've literally done that too. It's like, no, you're not allowed there. The more you practice that, the easier it gets. It's a little bit of a struggle at first and you can get through anything. And a lot of times you don't even recognize then some of the hiccups that come along or the struggles that come along because you kind of just surrender to the process of what's happening. And you learn to believe that, hey, whatever happens, I need to go through this to get to the next spot. Because not everything we go through is good, but everything we go through will work for good. And any of you that are believers know what the Bible says about that in Romans 8:28. God works everything for good to those who are called according to his purpose and who love God. And I didn't say that in the right order, but you get the point. But it's a way to move through life and understand that everything will work out. And I know that's hard to believe when you're facing and like the worst news maybe, but I know that if you choose in that moment to accept that news to the degree of, okay, this is what I have to face, and then flip it and go, okay, I'm going to take this one step at a time. I'm going to get through this and I'm going to walk through this without giving up. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I've gone through a lot of things. My sister has gone through a lot of things, and I've been helping her navigate all of these changes that she's going through right now with her health. And overthinking tends to kick in, and sometimes we have to step back and just be like, okay, wait a minute. We need to take this moment and set aside focusing or trying to make decisions on things that are irrelevant at that moment. Because when we go, oh, well, if this goes this way, then I got to do this. And if this goes this way, then I got to do that. You don't even know which way it's going to go. Like, why are you even trying to figure that out yet? And sometimes we'll create a problem that doesn't exist because of that overthinking. And I'm preaching at myself because I have lived that life and I have learned how to walk out of that overthinking mode. And it's wonderful. And sometimes it still happens. Um, but I'm a lot quicker at shifting myself out of that. And I believe that anybody can do that. It's just a matter of practice. So if you're going through something right now, still believe life is beautiful, still believe that you can navigate through it, still believe that you can overcome anything, no matter your age, no matter your circumstances, no matter what it is, you can move forward. And it's about taking that step that's right in front of you. You might not know what the next 10 steps are, but you know what the next step is right in front of you. Even if you don't know it, I guarantee that you'll find something. And if that step hasn't been revealed to you, then you stand still and do the best you can with where you're at that moment. And so I still ended up rambling by myself. Hopefully you guys got something out of this episode. And hopefully Candy and I will be back again next week together. It's just been a little bit chaotic for both of us. But I'm looking forward to continue bringing you content. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more humor and goofiness going on because that's just kind of the mood I need to be in. Because life's been just a little too serious lately. So anyways, we'll catch you next time. Y'all go have a good weekend.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Sip by Coffee. If you made it this far, congrats. You have an impressive attention span. If something resonated with you, let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep growing, keep being real, and try not to cause too much chaos. Or at least make it entertaining.